So you got to make sure that all your conversions are set up correctly in GA. But there's a lot of vendors in this space that are not properly firing events to trigger things. So there's chat companies and digital retailing companies, and I mean all these different providers that aren't going to help feed the algorithm. So July 1st, Google Analytics 4 is here, and then Universal is gone, and a lot of dealers aren't set up.
Welcome to the Matador Buscast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Matador Buscast. Yes, I said Buscast. Look, I've done podcasts in planes, trains, automobiles, and yachts. Right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun doing that. This is the first time that I get to do a podcast on a bus. Not just any bus, the largest party bus in the country. Of course, only in Texas.
Hey,
only in Texas.
The other one you said with New York and it burned down.
Yeah, only in Texas would you find something like that, right? We are here at NADA 2023. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and I get to talk about anything and everything I get to talk about around marketing and privacy with the one, the only, the most amazing.
Keep going.
I'm sorry. I just guess. You're such a trooper, man. You're such a trooper. I love it.
Wasn't rehearsed.
It wasn't rehearsed at all. No. That's what makes a great podcast. You know how I love kicking off these podcasts, right? I love kicking off a little origin story. So I'll have you introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us kind of how you got started in the business, and then we'll get into our topics, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so been in automotive now 18 years. So it's the grays they're all earned, right? 10 years I spent working at a dealership group, 33 store group, the Leith Auto Group, and the last 3 years we were there, brought in a lot of really great people, and we increased the leads to that group by 400%. They increased their revenue by 75% over that, a little higher, right?
Yeah.
And 75% increase in revenue for 33 stores is no joke. And so, we said, we got something that's pretty special. So we left. I took all my retirement. We were, no outside funding and started working in Chad's apartment, Ryan's apartment, and zero clients. And, now we've grown to hundreds of clients across the country and, doing SEO and social and PPC and all those things. And it's living the American dream and loving it.
Dude, I love it. You know what? So many people from the outside, look at like the success that, you guys have, and they're like, wow. But you know what, though? They don't know the grind.
Yeah.
They don't know about those super late nights, those questionable moments like, did we do the right thing?
8 months without a paycheck to get started. It's like,
right?
It was so much fun. Some of the most fun I've ever had. I'm not going to do that again. It's a lot, but it was awesome. it's been awesome. It's and now we're growing faster than ever, which is, even more awesome.
Dude, I love what you guys are doing over there, man. You're such a cool guy and just a great friend. And what the thing I love most about you is just your just kind of uncandid nature of want to serve the dealers. It's like if you put it all aside, if it's better for my client, if it's better for my customer, then it's the right thing to do no matter what.
Well, and that comes from working at the dealership and seeing there's a lot of things out there that are done wrong, and we built our model around doing the right things, and I think that's part of why we've got the great retention and great partners and loud advocates. So
that's awesome. The show's been good. You guys
really
been having fun?
Really good. Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, too much fun. We went to there's a Weezer concert yesterday, and we went and that was 5 minutes.
I think Shaquille O'Neal's doing a DJing at some point in time tonight. These parties are crazy.
Oh yeah, we had a private tour at AT&T Stadium. It's like there's all sorts of fun stuff going on. It's auto industry. It's a good one.
That's how we roll, man. That's how we roll. Okay, well, let's get into our topics today, right? We get to talk everything we want to talk about on marketing. I know privacy has been, a big topic for you. You know, so let's talk about 2023. That's where we're going to go. Let's look. We're coming off of 3 years of the best and most profitable and amazing years as an industry that we have ever have, right? And we're getting into this new year. It's not going to be what it was, all right, in the past 3 years.
Changing quickly.
It is changing very, very, almost weekly, it seems like, in some cases daily. But what would you say are some of the things from a marketing perspective we need to focus for this year to ensure success?
Yeah, well, you brought up privacy earlier, right?
Yes.
And we had a supply issue, so a lot of people were not paying attention to a lot of the changes happening at Google, and then the new formats that are coming out, and now they're recognizing that it's a lot different than it was. So GA4 is a big thing. They're changing to GA4 to overcome some of the privacy challenges. You've seen some lawsuits come out in Europe, right? And there's 2 new states created legislation this year that just started, right?
Yes.
To really focus on privacy first, and so GA4, that's one of the biggest ones because that changes a lot of things across the industry, right? So to power a lot of the new search algorithms, you got to make sure that all your conversions are set up correctly in GA. But there's a lot of vendors in this space that are not properly firing events to trigger things. So there's chat companies and digital retailing companies, and I mean all these different providers that aren't going to help feed the algorithm. So July 1st, Google Analytics 4 is here, and then Universal is gone, and a lot of dealers aren't set up. I mean,
they're not set up. They're not having the conversation. You guys, if you're watching and listening right now, you need to have the conversation with your website provider or your agency and all of your widget providers. All right. It is imperative that all of this data gets collected into one single space. And if you don't know what we're talking about here, is just a fundamental change that Google has taken now to analytics. And I love the new fresh approach.
Yeah.
All right. It is way more funnel based. All right, which I think is going to open us as marketers is going to open up huge opportunities for us.
It's just all about events. They're taking away some of the unique user way of going about things, and it's really a lot more event focused. So you can actually do a lot more with it. It's a lot more customizable. A lot of the API integrations allow you to do way more with it. But there's a lot of dealers don't have it set up, and I mean the data goes away, and it's not just for reporting and learning and benchmarking things and growing from there, which is huge.
Yes,
because you need that, but it literally is going to impact all of the money that dealers are spending on search and display, and a lot of these different things that are changing. Those are changing so quickly too.
100%. You know what? I'm looking at the next 5 years, I think, in our industry, and for me, the word that keeps popping in my head is optimization.
Yeah.
Like just everything is going to be optimized, and to do that, we have to invest a little bit of time so that we are set up correctly so that we can optimize. All right. This is not necessarily in the benefit of just Google, guys. It's not just the benefit of your OEM collecting more data off of what the consumer's doing. And it's not in the benefit of just your website provider. It is in the benefit of everything you do from an ad spend perspective. And look, our industry has been historically known for having some pretty monster ad waste or spend waste.
There's so much waste out there, but now it's all trackable. It's not like, in the past it's like, well, 50% of my ad budget's not working or is working. I just don't know which half. So you can reduce a lot out of waste.
Yes.
There's a lot of people are spending way too much on search.
Yes.
There's so much out there that we do a bunch of audits for people to see what's happening, what's working, and you go in and I was talking about GA4 and setting up those conversions correctly to help power the algorithm, and it's we notice some people are spending like it's a $450 cost per lead on the vehicle listing ads, right?
Yes.
And then others have like $15-$20, and it's like, why is that the case? It's because they don't have the conversion set up correctly. So I mean, it's
and the algorithm can't make the adjustments if it's not getting the proper data.
I mean, well, we had one. They were going after store visits, and that's the only conversion, but they weren't set up to have store visits in Google. So like it was just like that's a giant waste. I mean,
that's a monster one.
Yeah, and so you want to have all your macro leads going in there, and now especially because a lot of the behavioral data that Google had.
Real quick, you said macro leads. I know sometimes I hear things and I like to kind of go squirrel on things, all right, or find a rabbit hole. But I don't necessarily know if our audience knows what kind of those macro leads are, because there are so many events firing on a site that they don't necessarily know. Like, well, I just assume my KBB.
Yeah.
Like it's a lead, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and that's a very important thing to measure too, because if you're powering, all the performance max ads or any of those display campaigns, going after competitors, all that kind of stuff, the leads you put in are going to help, help the algorithm do its thing, and it's part of the optimization is just doing that. So macro leads is all the stuff that we want for dealers, right? I mean, phone calls and chats and digital retailing and form submissions, all those different things that really. We get to have an interaction with the customer. It's a shopping opportunity for the customer to the dealership, and so sorry.
And squirrel. But no, and it's a dealership's responsibility to do this. All right, it is your responsibility to talk to your website provider, to talk to your marketing agency, to talk to your trade-in tool, to talk into your live chat tool, to talk into your service appointment tool. All right, these are all incredibly incredibly valuable, all right, events that need to be pumped into GA4,
Yeah,
right?
well,
So that you will spend less money in marketing and be way more efficient.
and this is an opportunity too for, there's a lot of those companies out there that are not firing events properly for GA4. And so, I started looking ahead to May and June of this year. We're talking about 2023.
Sure.
And, if you're not firing for that stuff, not only are you not able to measure that and make sure that, the pages on your website you're building and all that kind of stuff is working and that you're getting those opportunities, but it's all of that's not gonna work at all. And so, I mean, I'd say 80% of the vendors out there are not set up right now for that. So,
but it takes time.
Yeah.
It's not. This is not a flipping of a switch. All right. This is a considerable amount of setup, and there are some vendors out there that I think have done a great job of committing to making sure that their clients are doing this, because if one does it benefits them all.
Yeah.
But it's dealers. If you're out there watching and listening, you need to be having these conversations right now.
Well, I mean, and you talk about that environment too. So under current Universal, which everyone's been using for years,
yes,
you can have different views. So every different vendor has, you can have a Cars.com view, an Edmunds view. Your paid search company could have a view. All these different things. This new environment, there's no separate. It's one area. So
it's one.
But this is where a lot of vendors at that point who are not paying attention, they're going to all be trying to go in and make changes there. So it's really important that you have one person, at the dealership who is focused on making sure that you maintain the integrity of that, because anyone can go in if you give them access and make changes that can have sweeping effects across all of your marketing. I mean, we're doing a lot of education with our dealerships on, don't just give away access like you used to on this. This is very important to have.
Well, okay, and that's actually a really good point, and I'm glad that you bring that up, because you also need to make sure that it's your account.
Yes.
Yours. All right.
That goes for Google Ads. That goes for everything.
Goes for everything.
Like, if you don't have access to your Google Ads, there is likely some kind of something happening that's not in a transparent way that's not good for you. There's a lot of overcommission that happens in the industry. There's
that's true. There's a lot, isn't there?
It
still blows my mind. There's some monster, we'll call them legacy agencies in there, all right, that don't grant access to their accounts, to their clients.
What are you hiding?
Like,
and Google says that the business should own this.
Yes.
Like it's not, the agency doesn't own it. It's you as a dealership owns that. And so, I mean, that's something that, if you're asking your current provider and they don't give you access, then you got to start looking in and saying, why is that happening? And there's a lot of them that won't do that. And that's the dealership's property, not the agency.
It is 100%, and it's so important because there's going to be a lot additional opportunities, I think, over the next 5 years. That new kind of detailed funnel out. I think websites are going to fundamentally change based on the analytics that we're recording. I know marketing strategies are going to fundamentally change. Look, guys, it's no longer acceptable that we just market for the sake of marketing. All right, we need to be very intentional.
Yep.
All right, with our marketing. And look, a lot of things have changed. I mean, look, we're an industry that has heavily relied on remarketing strategies, and that is, it's old. I mean, in fact, there's devices. Where's my phone? All right, there's devices that won't even let you do it.
Right. Well, every time you open up a new app on your iPhone, it'll say, do you want to be tracked? And 95% of people say no, and then I always joke the other 5% hit the wrong button accidentally, right? I mean, like nobody wants to be. But I mean, so that's why Google's doing more things to create more of an on-platform experience, because just like lookalike audiences or special ad audiences, they changed the name, and Facebook are going away.
Yes.
The reason they're going away or they're gone is because they lost all of that ability to track behaviors outside of Facebook. So that's why Facebook has on destination ads. They're trying to lead ads directly on Facebook. They're trying to create an experience on the platform. And Google Business Profile on Google side, they've added inventory. You have a parts page, a service page, and we're leaning into the expectation that that's going to just get to be more robust, because if they stay on those pages, even if they use advertising to drive to the Google platform itself, and this is going to happen over the next few years. I'm certain, because
I'm sure of it.
If they're there, then you get to track every single behavior that happens. But if they go to the dealership's website, even then you lose all of that information, and then this is how Google makes
we've
money.
seen small bits and pieces of that, over the last few years. So it doesn't surprise me that they're just going to want it to, but also it's beneficial to the user. It's one thing to be able to see a message in in Meta or in Instagram or in TikTok, I see a message, then I click on it, and then I go to the dealership's website, and frankly, that message doesn't exist on that site. Google's coming out saying, well, what we can do, and I think a lot of people are going to go that direction.
It's going to be, a lot more robust. So, last year there was like 25 different updates they made to GBP, the Google Business Profile, just for auto. Right?
I know. I had George Nettie on the other day.
Oh, yeah, I love George. Yeah,
I think we recorded for like 25, 35 minutes, and that still was not even enough time to really kind of go over all the changes that just happened with GMB.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, I was joking with him. So he made that tool, that GMB Spy.
Yep.
And there's like 20,000 users that have downloaded it. We show that to our dealers. It's like, you got to at least have the category set up and some of those things. And then we were joking, well, it changed to GBP, but everyone's downloaded GMB Spy. So it's like, everything's changing so fast. But that's if you want to just do a quick snapshot of what your profile is, that GMB Spy that he has, you can download that as a plugin. He's a very smart guy. We were just chatting about these same things actually with the Google Ads and how GA4 is going to power a lot, or does power a lot of those things for conversions, how that's going to drop off. And we're just, it's frustrating a little bit where it's like, come on, people, you got to be ahead of things.
It's frustrating, but I also think exciting because I think there's a lot of opportunity that it generates.
Yeah, the frustrating part is that not everyone is setting it up correctly, and so that's where we just got to be loud as an industry. Like, our expectation is that we're paying you guys all this money to create these opportunities. We have to be able to use that, and the GA4 Council we're gonna chatting about before this. It is nice that there's a loud voice out there that is standardizing things and creating those greater expectations. Because those that are not doing this, I think are going to have a major reputation hit. Come July or August.
I think so, for sure. Now, you mentioned something earlier, and I kind of want to come back to, because we were talking a little about audience.
Yeah.
Right, and some of the most powerful audiences that we've had, those remarketing audiences and lookalike audiences,
gone. Yeah,
it's gone. Yep. It's gone. All right, but
works for 5% of the people.
Yeah. So, but I actually am excited about this because I think that's what it's going to do is really going to force the dealership to focus on something that they have not focused on in the past, and that is the creative message that they put out there.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. It's not enough anymore. Like, it's just almost not acceptable if you're just running 0% interest, or I don't know if everybody has it, but if you're just running incentive-based ads, $250 bi-weekly, it is not acceptable. That is the only thing you do.
Especially now, because incentives are like 20% of what they were.
Well, a couple years ago. Exactly. So it's probably not helping anyways. But I think what this is going to fundamentally do for the dealers is that it's going to force us to become better storytellers. Yeah. All right, which is something that I've been fighting for years for dealerships, because I think they have amazing stories, and those stories is what connects to the customer. Now we're getting to the point now we're going to be forced. We're going to be forced to be better storytellers.
Yeah. Well, I love that, right? We love telling a story. It's the narrative. The narrative, that's a word that we use all the time, but it's, we do. This is a great opportunity for dealers, I think, because we're losing all those audiences, to do a reset on what is it people want and are looking for. We look at Google Search Console. All this data is free. The Search Console, you can go to Google Ads, you look at queries, like, what are people searching for? And if you look at all the different types of things that people are looking for, everyone is looking for something different. So, this is an opportunity as we reset all the expectations to see, okay, people are looking for new cars, but they're also used and CPO, and then, all the fixed ops, components, the tires and oil changes and brakes, and everyone's looking for different things. Some dealers are looking to hire, yes. Is that part of your marketing mix? And so that's another thing we say at Reunion all the time is volume and variety. It's gone are the days where you do 2 ads, Camry ad and a Corolla ad on TV and puts it out, and that affects 0.1% of the market that might apply to. But we build a plan around all these different things that people are looking for, and then the likelihood of ad resonance, another word that we use a lot. We have our Reunion buzzwords. It's not as loud out in the space, but it's like, are the ads resonating? And if you don't offer something that's going to be unique to the person who's looking at it, then it's a wasted ad. People see 15,000 ads a month, in this world, right? So you need to make messaging that applies to someone and understand what they're looking for, and everyone's looking for different things. So
no, and look, and the cool thing, I think one of the bigger opportunities with that is that from a messaging perspective, it's what kind of message is going to actually resonate with the customer. And I think a lot of those messages have to be around what is that experience when I come into the dealership. Look, it's not enough to just market the fact that you have that you're a Nissan dealership or you're a Volvo dealership or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, you got a 30-foot sign sitting outside of your building that says exactly that. I think we understand what you do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more not necessarily what you do, but why you do it. The way you do it is going to be the narrative that customers actually want to hear.
Well, what's your differentiator? Is that in all of your messaging? Is that, across all these on-platform environments? It's, it's just, you have to be, it's an exciting thing for us because it's a lot more complex than it used to be. So it allows us to be everywhere and create messaging that applies to everyone. So there's the more, we're a more group. We were saying that at the Weezer concert last night, but like more. It's that's the fun part because you don't have to try to get all your branding and creative into one ad. It's like you need to create that frequency of all your differentiators across the breadth of all the different things you're advertising, and it makes it fun. It's
I think the cool thing too is it's measurable, and it speaks to the customer. I think the customer for me, the customer experience for me is two things. And I've tried to really kind of simplify this over the years. So that if someone really asks me, like, what can I do that really makes a phenomenal difference? It's that the customer today, they fundamentally changed over the last 3 years. There's been some expectations that have been created that now become the norms, not just necessarily the expectation. The expectation now is that you exceed their expectation, not just meet their expectation.
Right.
That's the type of consumer that we're dealing with today.
That's what we should aim for all the time, right?
100%. And I think, in our marketing efforts, we have an opportunity to, A, make the customer feel known, and then B, all right, show just how easy we are to do business with. All right.
Yeah.
All right. The fact that the 10 steps of the sale is dead. It's dead. It's all right. We have buying options now. All right. You can buy from me 6 or 7 or a dozen different ways. All right. But that needs to be the message that's put out there because that's what customers want to know. They want to know that I feel known.
Yep.
All right. And if I hit a button, I can have a conversation with you.
Sure.
All right. And then 2, I want to know how easy it is to do business with you.
Yeah, and giving people what they want. It's
yes.
Just giving more nuggets out there. We do have the hundreds of millions of queries and research, and so obviously EVs and hybrids, those things are being searched way more. And we do our key lift audits where we show exactly where people rank for different things. And EVs are not usually in the first 9 pages of Google for 90% of the stores that we do these for. Like no one is. And last year the double the EV sales, and the search demand is even higher. Like that's one thing. Search demand has gone down a lot as the market has shifted. From supply issues to turning into potentially demand issues. As it's changing. And if you're not showing up, if you're not on page 1 of Google, then that's what we joke. If you want to hide a dead body, put it on page 2 of Google.
That's a great place to do it. Yes.
Yeah, but it's that's the only SEO joke out there. I think
it's the only SEO. It's a classic, but it's a goodie. It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
But it's are you creating an experience where someone's searching for something and looking for something, and you're giving them exactly what they want. And that's a huge opportunity for people to. If adding content on your website that matches the different things people are looking for isn't on your agenda, then or part of your marketing mix, then you're just hoping that they infer what it is they want as opposed to give them what they want. Like all that information is available.
Well, and the cool thing is we now have a great suite of data, GA4, that's going to actually help us in it. And I think probably the most organized way that I've ever seen it. It's not that we couldn't build out these great funnels in the past, but this is next level organization when it comes to building out these funnels. It's that, it's allowing us to A/B test, creative A/B test, marketing messages, landing pages, and quickly say, is this the right funnel? Maybe I had the funnel incorrectly. Maybe they need to be entering from the side of the building and not the front of the building, but this is the type of data that we're going to have. And I'm so excited for the next 5 years. Yeah, and I think you guys are doing amazing things. And I'm so excited to see what you guys do for over the next 5 years. I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation today. And I know that we could easily continue to riff another 30 minutes. I know it's always fun.
There's a lot to talk about out there. Right?
There is. But hey, before I let you go though, with everybody out there that's watching and listening right now, would love to kind of connect and learn more about the company and yourself and follow along with the journey. What's the best way to do so?
Sure. Just email me directly. Dave@reunionmarketing.com. I'm on LinkedIn, very active on there. And obviously you are, right?
Yep.
We're on LinkedIn right now.
Yes, here we are.
So either one of those is good, or just reach out, call the office.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to jam with me. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for the beer too.
Absolutely, party buzz. Let's do it.
Hey, thanks so much.
Dave.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to the Matador Podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Be sure to check out the full podcast library at matador.ai to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.